Hello everyone. So welcome to a video. So today what we're going to do is basically deal with um our Red Hat certification exam, RHCA. This is just practice questions that I was able to kind of find, and I'm not sure if this is going to be in there or not. But these are just the kind of practice, and uh, there's a lot of stuff that you need to know. So, but we're just going to like these are the most common questions that we're going to do. So, um these are the questions that I kind of found, and I kind of summarized to see where my skill is at, and to kind of show you guys if you guys are stuck and doing the same thing as me. If you want to figure out this question, you can go along with me. So the first question of this basically questions that I made is just to know how to restart our machines. So in my VMware right now, I have CentOS 7, CentOS 8, and CentOS 9 as well. So this question I'm gonna do in CentOS 9 just because our Red Hat certification exam is on CentOS 9. So I'm gonna do that. So it just wants us to restart our password. So right now, I generally don't remember. Oh, never mind. I do remember what my password is. But what I'm going to do, I'm gonna put this command name systemctl reboot. It restarts our system, and as it's rebooting, I'm gonna hit the shift button and it's going to take me here. So now you have two options, and I'll go with the first option and I press E. E stands for edit. Go to the last line and kind of back out, and where it says quiet, I'll come here and I'll say rd dot break, and I go control plus X, and what control plus X does in Linux generally is saves everything. So when you go control plus X, it tells you to basically this bashing that you can edit it. There we go. We are here now. So the first thing I'm going to do is mount dash O remount RW sysroot. So basically what I did, I basically um remounted our basically our disk for root. And in here I'm going to say truth sysroot, and now if you see our thing changed from switched root to now being able to have full control. So I'm gonna say password root. I'm going to put my password in there now, and now let's create our txt file. Let's put everything in there. So let's renew it. So I'm gonna say touch auto relabel. Press enter and then exit and then exit. And this will take a couple of seconds or minutes. I know the settings Red Hat 9 it takes a couple of minutes, but in CentOS 7 and CentOS 8 it takes a couple of seconds actually, which I'm not sure why, but it depends on your system too. For example, on those two actually I give it 2 CPUs and 4 gigabytes of RAM, whereas my Red Hat only give it 1 gigabyte of RAM and 1 CPU. So I'm kind of surprised that this is barely even running right now. So we're done with the first question. And our second question is asking us to change IPs, and so the host name, the IP, the gateway, DNS search, and it's also asking us to basically change our, yeah. So I'm gonna help you with that too. So let's wait for, okay, there we go. So I'm gonna log in now, and there we go. So let's click the terminal, and let's make this so we have the same feeling as the exam. So what we're going to do is go systemctl isolate multi user target. So this will be the same exact thing as the exam. So you will have this sort of thing. And now in the exam, you can go systemctl. If you want to change it to the graphical, you can go systemctl isolate graphical. But for the sake of this, and since it's This is going to be how it's going to be on the exam. I'm going to keep it like this. So now let's go back to our question. You want us to change the IP address. So in here, I'm going to put this kind of NMTUI, press enter. Now you can either do that or you can just go manually and change it either. For me, I'd rather just do that because it's easier for me. So in here, I'm going to go edit connection. I already put a setup a port and saying change this. And I'll go edit. So in here, you can go to automatic and then press manual and then show address. You wanted me to change it to 196.37.137. And then the gateway wanted me to change it to 192.168. Now this is for the second video. You can change it to anything you want, but this is not my real IP. It has to be matched with your VMware if you're going to do future stuff. So 37.2, and the DNS it's asking me 192.168.37.2. So DNS is going to be the same as gateway. And in the search domain, it wants me to say zoneexample.com. So in here, you're going to come after you're all the way down, press OK, and then you're going to go back. Now let's set up our hostname. So the hostname wants me zoneexample.com. Now OK, and now let's quit. So in order to now check, basically let's start with our hostname. You can go hostname, tells you, or you can go hostname CTL, gives you way more information, tells you way more. Or right now, what you can do, to basically see how far DNS change, you can put this cat etc resolve.conf, and our DNS not change. Do you guys know why? Because sometimes, even in the exam, it happened to me a couple of times. You have to go active connection, and you go deactivate, come back here, and you say active. And then I'm gonna go quit. Now I'm gonna come here and say cat etc resolve.conf, and there we go. Our DNS now change. And also what I'm going to do is go ipconfig, and there we go. Our IP also changed as well. You can go now to check if your gateway changed to, you can go route-n. There we go. My gateway has changed here. So that question, let's get it out of the way because we were able to do it. Now, our third question is asking us to create 3 users with the name Ben, Mike, and Martin. The 3 users must be in an admin group, and the user Mike, the user Mike login should be non-active. The 3 users must be having this password. So for the sake of the video, I'm not gonna use this password because whatever. But you can, in the exam, you have to use their own password, because in the exam they're gonna go inside your system, they're going to check every single thing, and if they cannot log into the user, they will not give you the mark. So let's create the group first. Now, me personally, what I do, I go group add admin, I stop here. What I do now, I go say touch users.sh. Now you don't have to, you can just do it normal way, which is user add and then password for that user. But I kind of like it this way because then I do everything. So user, and I'm gonna press I, then I say bin bash. So now what I do, I go user add bin, user, and I set a password for bin. Then I go user add Martin, then I put password for Martin. Now in the question, you ask us for user Mike to have no login show. So -s SBI no login and then Mike, and I come here again and put password for Mike. Now I come here, go kill, basically to save it, clear my screen to have better visual, and I'm gonna go chmod plus x gives it the full permission for everything, users plus, and if I come here, basically double check, there we go, so I have the full permission. Now all I have to do is just go bash users, and I just set the password. That's it, I'm done. So I didn't have to go user add, password for user add. I did it in kind of my bash, and I just ran it. Now you can do this whole question on that bash script, but for the sake of the video, I'm gonna do it step by step. So far what I did, I created 3 users name, Ben, Martin, and Mike. Mike, I give it no shell non-active. So now let's add these users to the group. Oh, forgot that was so what I'm going to do, we're going to use this command name usermod-g admin, and our first user is going to be Mike, our second user was Ben, and our third user is going to be Marta. Now to verify if we did this all correctly, so I'm going to come here and say ID Mike. See, Mike is a part of group named admin, and ID Ben, same thing, and then ID Marta. Now to check if Mike has a non-shell active, what I do, I'll go grep Mike from etc password. So basically what grep means is grab this, or basically check this. So I'm grabbing Mike from etc password instead of just going cat etc password, and there's a long list for me to look out. I don't like this, there's too many informations. I'd rather go Mike etc password. Just tells me about Mike, nothing else. And it says that Mike SBI has no login shell. If you see, it says no login SBI. So we did this question correctly. So let's move on to our next question. Now our next question is saying create a catalog under home name admins, and the group is so the group that we created admins should be the group ownership of admins, and the group users can only read and write, while other users are not allowed to access the files. Yeah, so let's do this. So I'm here, I'm gonna go mkdir-p home admins, and what -p does, -p means parent. So our parent directory is going to be in homes and admins. And now I'm going to give a full permission. So channel.admin and then home admins. So now if I go lsld home admins, there we go. It's telling us that the group, basically the most powerful is always going to be root, and the group ownership is admins. So now let's give it the permission. So in here I'm going to say chmod 7707 full power to the user who created it, which is the root, 7 the full power to give it to the who to the group, and 0 no one else we want to have permissions other. Now if I go ls-al home admins, but wait, the question said that, let me go inside of it and see every single user. It's in here right now, it's part of that, but the question said that only read and write. But if we see, we give it read, write, and executable. We don't want that. So I'm gonna give it a fake X, so users can still do what they want to do, but they cannot delete it. So on here I'll say group plus C, and in here I'm gonna go home and admins. Now if I go, there we go. So now admins can only read and write, and that was our fourth question. So let's move on to the fifth question. So our first question is asking us, configure a task, plan to run echo command at 1423 every single day. So in order to do that, what echo command does, if you're watching this video, I'm sure you're familiar with it. Minutes go first and hours, but I don't remember that. I don't remember that. So what I do, go cat etc corn tab, and I pasted it, and it tells me every single thing. So minutes come first, then hours, then day of the month and day of the week, and the username. It's so much easier if you don't remember it on the exam. Just you can do that, and yes, you are allowed to do that. But let's go back to the question. It says it wants to run the hello command at 1423 every day. So if I go corn tab -e and I press I, okay, 23, because minutes come first, 14, and that's it. 2 3 3 4 5, and that's it, because there's 5. If you go back, it tells you again section by section. And he also wants me to say echo hello. So I'll go bin slash echo hello and close it. And to verify if this works, corner tab dash L. There we go. So I was able to do that. Let me just pull up our next question. Sorry, I think I lost the Word document. Did I? I have a lot of things open. Okay, there we go. So now let's move on to our second question. So now it says find the files owned by Tom and copy them to catalog root Tom folders. So first thing first, I need to verify if I have a username Tom, and I suggest you do that on the exam too, because sometimes they trick you. You don't have a Tom user, now you're sitting there for 10 minutes, you're like, why isn't it? So I recommend you do that. So we go grep Tom etc password, and there we go, we don't have it. So in here I'll go user add Tom, and I'll set a password for Tom. Now let's switch to user Tom. So if I go ls-l, they want to see this, every single file, except the cache and the Mozilla. So I'll go exit. Now you also wanted me to create it under root and name it Tom files. So in here I did that. There we go, we're inside. So I'm gonna go cd inside the root Tom files. And now if I go find slash type dash f user Tom execp, and then in here I'll go root Tom files, come back here, and also I want all the div null as well. Press enter. If I go ls-al, there we go. So we have every single thing from Tom, all the hiding files and all the non-hiding files. And that was our question number 6. So let's move on to question number 7. So configure your server Brazilian to basically run these two. So now this is not going to work, and the reasoning is because my host name is different. But if you just do this, it's going to work on the exam as well. So in here I'm gonna say via etc yum.d repos, and then in here you can name it anything, but I'll go with pkg, and then repo. Now in here I'm gonna name it application base. In here I'm gonna say base os. In here I'm gonna say base url. Then in here I'm gonna say http. Let me just name them all. Now this is not going to work, but I'll give it a try. And if you do this on the exam, it's gonna, because the host name doesn't match my own name, but whatever. And then in here, what GPG check does, it checks if this is right or not. So I don't want to waste time, so I'm gonna say 0, and I'm gonna enable. Now let's do it for our app stream. So app stream applications, or whatever you can name it, whatever. And then in here I'll say name app stream base URL. I'm gonna say http mohammedjukari.com. then gpg check I'm gonna say 0 enabled 1. Press escape, thank you. Now to check, I'm gonna go yum repo list, there we go. But it didn't work. It just kind of showed that it's in there, which is better than nothing. So yeah, and in the exam you should only see those two that you created. So let's move on to question number 8. So it says in your system HTTP service has some files inside of this, and this normally HTTP always goes under this. Do not change the file, solve the problem. So let's say so what's happening, your system CTL was running under port 80. Now there's a problem, so you have to change it from port 80 to port 82. And I don't think I have systemctl installed. So let's check if I have systemctl installed. So no, I don't have it. So how do you install it? If we go yum install httpd -y. Oh, now it's giving me error. You know why? Because my ripple list was wrong. So if you followed me, put this in. So let's go rm dash rf etc yum dot d the ripple list, and then pkg dot rip. Now put this command in. Now it should work. So I'm gonna go clear yum install httpd space dash y, and whoa. Oh, there we go. So now why I put dash y is because if you don't put dash y, that's not a big deal. Then you have to press y, which stands for yes. Do you want to really install? It's going to ask you a couple times, but I'm too lazy, so I just put dash y. So now that we installed this, but in the exam it's already going to be installed. So yeah, let me just start my systemctl status httpd. There we go. So now it's running, but if we see it's running on port 80 at the end of the line. I don't want it to run on port 80. I want it to run on port 82. So let's go this. So let's go cmanage port dash l space grep all the port 80s that we have. Oh, port dash l or grep or grab every single port 80 we have. So if you look at it, it says http port 80, and I cannot drag my mouse in because I'm not in graphical. So look, I'll go, for the sake of this video, I'll go in graphical so I can show you with my mouse where it is. And these are all the users I've created so far. So here, let me open my terminal. So now if I go to, if you go head F11, you can have full screen, by the way. So if I go, oh yes, we were doing this question. Cmanage port dash L pipeline grab 80. So if I come here, you see HTTP port dash T 80. So you want to copy this username, and then I'll go clear, and now I'll go cmanage port dash A dash T, and I paste it in there. Now we want it, so I will say P, which stands for port, TCP to change to 82. Press enter. Now this should change to 82 on the real exam too. But in order, for sake of mine, I'm gonna double check on it. So what I do, I'll go via etc http conf http.conf. Now in order to faster it, I'll go shift columns, and I'll go lesson or less. Okay. Okay, seems like I can't find it, so I gotta go by hand. So this is where you can change every single thing about your HTTP, and here it hasn't changed. So what I do, I press I, go back here, change to escape, then double key. Now if I go systemctl and you need to restart it, httpd, and then systemctl start httpd systemctl status of our httpd. So there we go. Now it's changing to, it changed from port 80 to port 82, and our HTTP is running. So let's move on to our 9 question. Now the question 9 is asking us to create the following groups: a group membership named sysadmin, a user Harry who belongs to the group named sysadmin, a group Natasha who belongs to sysadmin secondary group, and a group Sarah who does not have internet shell, who is not a member of sysadmin. Harry and should have all the same password. Sysadmin should be able to add users, and Harry should be able to set password for them. So we did this kind of question earlier, but this is kind of more advanced way to do it. So I go cat etc password to see if I have any of the users, and no, I don't have any of the users, so that's a good thing. So I'll come here, I'll say users.sh, I'll go via, now you don't have to do this, you can just go user add or whatever. Oh, but it'll have the same file. So So let's do it again. Users dot sh. So now if I go bin bash. So in here I'm gonna create a group ad name. So it's admin, user ad name Harry, password for Harry, and then a user ad name who Nat. I'm gonna say Nat. Password for Nat, and then a user ad name Sarah, which she does not. So I'll say no longer Sarah, and then password for Sarah. Now let's add them to the group. So I'll go user mod, and then sysadmin Harry user mod sysadmin Nat. And that's it actually, because they don't want it. So I'll go WQ, and then here I'll go shmon plus x users dash, and now all I have to do is just run it. So I set the password for every single one of them. That's it, I'm done. I don't have to make my whole terminal messy. So now what I do, I'll go user ID, there we go, is part of the system admin, and user Nat, which is part of the system admin, and user Sarah, who's not part of the system admin, and that's what we want. And also let's grab Sarah from etc password to see if she has no login. That's correct. So now let's go back to the question. So far we kind of did all of this. So now it wants basically the user group says admin should be able to add users while user Harry sets password for them. So let's see. If I switch to user Harry right now, and if I go cat etc password, let's say I want to set a password for Sarah. Actually no. Yeah, let's say I want to add a user. Test1. Right now I am not, it says permission denied. I am not allowed to add a user. Let's set a password for Sarah. It says password for Sarah. Only root can do that. And what if we go sudo? And we will get this. Even though we said sudo, I'm not allowed to, as user Harry, to do that. Let's say user Harry is a system admin whose only job is to set password and restart password for the user. So let's do that. So I'll go back to my root, and I'll put this command vsudo. I'll come all the way down here. Allows members. So I press I here, and I go %sign sys admin. I want them to have full permission, yes. And then in here, I want them to be able to create users. So I'll go sbi user sbi user add. Now in here, without password, I'm gonna put user Harry in there, and then in here I'm gonna say also I'm gonna say no password. And then what basically what we can also do is basically just to give them the bin password. So in here we did user SPI. SPI is basically for just users. In here I'll go bin password, and bin is basically the garbage for the password, basically temporary password. Now I'll go WQ. There we go. So now if I go to switch to user Harry, I can add a user, but I have to go sudo. And there we go. So user Harry was able to create a password. Before, he wasn't even able to do that even with the sudo, but now he's able to do that. So now if I go sudo password for the user that we just created, user Harry is able to set a password for Harry. So now he's a minimum sysadmin. So we did that question as well. Question number 10. Okay, that question is really easy. We just go mkdr. Yeah, this question is really easy. I don't want to waste my time. So in here is asking us to create a user Natasha, or put a future task for Natasha that runs 1 minute every local, and you execute this commands under her logger. So for CentOS 7, CentOS 8, and CentOS 9, actually no, I think 8 and 9 is the same thing. It's a different logger path name. So if I go which logger, it's this path. Now if I log into my root, seems like I don't remember my password. No, whatever. I just show you in. So it's 8 and 9 is the same thing. But for the sake of the exam, don't remember the path name. Just go which logger and then copy this path name. Now it wants us to make a basically a future task for our user to run every 1 minute locally, say exam 200 testing. So if I go corn tab -e, now it's the same thing. If I go U stands for user, we want it for NAT. Now if I go I in here, and in here I say */1 minutes, 1 2 3 4, which equals all of them to 5, and then here I paste the path name, and then I come here and I say exam 200 testing. Now to check, corn tab dash, and you can see right here too, corn tab -l-u nat. There we go. So we got it. So we got that question out of the way as well. So let's create a backup now. So in question number 12, it wants us to create a backup, name my etc backup.tar in our root directly. So he wants us to create a backup for this whole thing, our etc. Say I'm doing something critical with my machines and I need to create a backup. So here I'll go tar cvgf my etc backup .tar .bz2. Now if the exam asks you to use a different thing, you don't use that, and the reason I use bz2 is because it's asking me to create it in the bzip, so I'm putting that in a bzip. And then in here I'll go etc. So create a backup, name my etc backup .tar .bz2 for our etc. Press enter. Verify ls. There we go. This is our backup. So basically this is a folder that I can use now, and basically just send it. So if it's a zip file basically, so if stuff goes wrong and if I double click on it, it's going to open up automatically. And if I go inside of it, I have all of my backups saved in there, so I can basically just send it to myself from Bluetooth, everything. So if I mess up something, if I'm doing something with my system, I have a backup to send it back to myself. And that was question number 12. So question number 13 is asking us to copy all the etcf stuff to var dump and also set the permissions so that user on root, and it belongs to the group root as well, and it should not be executed by anyone. And user Natasha is able to read and write it, and user here is not able to read or write or do anything, and all users have the ability to read. So let's do this. So let's copy the copy command in Linux is cp from etc fstab to var.temp, and it successfully worked. You can go inside of it basically to check. and he also wants us to give permission, so I'm gonna go schmod 660 var temp, because it said not to anyone, so I come here and I go temp fstab, there we go. So now only everyone can read and write it, no one can delete it or do anything to it. And now I'm gonna give root, let's just go back to see who owns it and who's the member of the group, but it should automatically be root, so we're not even gonna do that. But the usernet, it only wants us to read and write. So instead of using schmod, we're gonna use this for a specific user. How do I do that? I don't have schmod. I can't schmod user. How do I do that? So I'll use ACL. So this command name set ACL or get ACL. Yeah, I think so. M U nat RW, and then it's gonna be var temp fstab. Oh, invalid options. So let's try it this way, guys. There we go. So it's not get full, it's stay full. Okay, so and then also user Harry could not read or write, so no permission for user Harry. Now this is where you use to basically, so now that you're done, we're done with everything, this is where we will use to check if we did it correctly. So the question asks us to the owner be root, the group is root, there we go, so everything's good. The users only can read and write as it says it. The user nat can only read and write, user Harry does not have any permission, and these are the permissions, and other people can now do anything. So we're done with that question as well. Let's check if I'm still recording. Yes, I am. Okay. Question number 14. Find every single string, like the word h from this, and copy it into this. So I go grep h from user share the words to root lines. Press enter. Now if I go root lines, there we go. So that's our last question, number 14. And let me see if I can figure out a bunch of more questions that we can do together. These are the easy part, and then after we're gonna be making basically we're gonna be making partitions. We're gonna do a lot of more cool stuff. So a question right here, it wants us to change our time zone to New York. So I'm gonna go time date CTL. Now our question is set up to Vancouver because I'm from Vancouver. So now let's change it. So sudo time date CTL, and I'm gonna say set time zone and in America. Sorry, America. Set time zone. Time zone. America / New York. I'm not sure why it's not working. Sudo time date. It's not working. I'm not sure why. Because the tab completion. Okay, there we go. So now the tab completion came. Time zone, there we go, now it's coming. So America, there we go, and then New York. Press enter. Now time date CTL, there we go. Now you change it to basically New York. So now if I want to change it back, time date CTL, set time zone and then I'll go America, and then I'll say Vancouver. So time did CPU. There we go. So we change it back to Vancouver. So yeah, that's it. I'm looking around to see if so let's create a. So this is one question we can also do as well. So he wants us to create a username Alex, and the UID should be 1234. So this is a really easy question. You can go user add Alex. User add -u 1234 and Alex. Password for Alex. Now a way to verify, you can go ls-l Alex. Sorry, ls-ld Alex. Whoa. Oh, sorry. That was for the file. You have to go ID. I'm sorry, I don't know where my mind went. So yeah, it tells me that the UID is 1234. I think I'm getting too tired now. Yeah, so the next video we're going to be doing hard stuff, setting up containers, OTFs, and partitions. And that was it just for the easiest stuff. Thank you for watching.